That's all we put up because
Okay, it's 12 o'clock. I'll call the meeting of Fire and Police Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Jenks,
Here.
Fred Mogul,
Here.
Ron Stanko,
Here.
Fred Levering,
Here.
and Steve Brenner will either be late or absent.
Yeah. Okay. Just notice that this is being recorded for public consumption. And we'll move on to public comments. Do we have any public comments today? No. Okay, hearing none. Move on to Westernburg's ambulance report.
You received the report. I did not know that Tony was not planning on attending or sending anyone in his absence. So I would say the report is self-explanatory. If anybody has any
Speaks for itself.
questions, I can circle back to Tony.
Okay, any questions about Westernburg's ambulance? All righty, we'll move on to West Side Emergency Management.
Well, I have it here, but it's fairly short.
There you
so that's
go.
okay. Recently, we just attended, just so people are aware, there's a pipeline response group that produces a class or a training session on things that are supposed to be done if there's pipeline emergencies of any kind. It doesn't have to be the big transmission ones. It can be the little transmission ones that are in your front yard, and they emphasize, of course, that 811 and PA1 calls, which I know we do a lot of with, I see it when we're taking down tree stumps and that kind of thing. There's a lot of it. But that was interesting, to say the least. People do some strange things when they start digging. I'm really kind of shocked that there's not any more bigger events, to tell you the truth. We had our regular agency meeting in September where we presented the budget, and part that you would be most interested in is that the amount would stay the same for budget purposes. We still have and can operate on what we've been charging for since the beginning, I guess, really, $2 a head. So we're pretty thrifty with our money there. So no change in municipal donations for next year. The most recent training we had was for another computer program that the county has for emergency management. It's called WebEOC, which we've just kind of got started with. It's a way of managing information during a crisis, which is, it's good, but it's going to take a little bit of work, training to get the thing kind of up and running. So that's it. Nothing else other than things have been fairly quiet.
You want to mention the audit?
The audit was complete. Yes, I didn't bring a
And
copy.
I gave Michelle a copy of it.
Yeah, the audit for through Herbine was complete and was clean and acceptable. So good report. Okay, so unless somebody has a question.
Okay, questions for Tom? Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Moving on to the police department. Chief.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's pretty quick for today. First is, if you recall, we've been talking about the safety sticks for timed parking in front of the block. They have submitted another proposal of agreement to us. If you recall, that there was some concerns about this should not cost us anything, and they had some things in there about if they didn't make so much money, there would be a cost. So I've passed this on to our solicitor, Mr. Hartman. He has looked at it, and he feels as though this update is still shows things that are going to say that we're going to owe money if they don't make the job. So I guess the question really becomes then, and this is up to you, but I brought this because I thought this was going to be no cost to the borough. So if this is something that we really want to go forward with, and then also, and I don't know, this might be for infrastructure, but I know that the businesses at the block were asking for this 15-minute temporary parking in front of on that side of the street. So if that is something that we want to go forward with, and that's, we're going to have to update an ordinance and all of that. I mean, if it is something that council ultimately would want to do, I would recommend what I had proposed in the location where I proposed for the, where we would have the safety sticks as well. I think it was 4 spaces that we could get there. It's just that without these to monitor, I can't promise that we're going to be able to get people for 15 minutes. They're busy out doing other things. So, as I said, Solicitor Hartman feels as though this is still going to cost us. So, I mean, again, it's up to the body, but it looks like there would be a fee associated if we put the sticks in and they don't make the income.
So it's kind of misleading to what they had presented to us. So do we want to go back to the trough one more
This is
time?
the second time.
I know.
But what are we looking at? I mean, if it's $500 or $1,000, something like that, to me, it's relatively minor.
And it's per stick too.
Okay.
So we would have to, for this, for the 4 space, we would have to put the spaces out, and then we would have to have a stick at each. So each stick has to make that amount. So that, it's not just, I don't believe 500, I believe it could, be a couple thousand. Essentially.
Is there a maximum we're willing to pay? Could we put in something in the contract, the total fees will not exceed something? So I think it's benefits everybody to have this.
In my observation of driving down that street, we don't have a severe problem. I mean, I'll occasionally see a car with its blinkers on in spite of the no parking sign. And a little while later, it's gone. I mean, it's just a pickup sort of thing. So, I think we might be addressing something that really isn't that much of an issue. So I think that going to the, affecting the ordinance to a 15-minute parking kind of thing. And if we have people that abuse it, then we can consider going back to this. But I don't think it's necessary.
I have to agree with you, because in the beginning, yes, it was, until people got used to the new parking regulations and so forth. But it has definitely calmed down, and other than the occasional car with the 4 ways on, which you don't know if that could be Uber, that could be, somebody running in to get a sandwich, pick up a sandwich. So I would just, personally, I'd like to see us just table it for right now. And if we want to go back to them one more time and say, this isn't what you people presented to us, we're giving you one last shot.
Well, I would say, that's to me, the committee's decision. It's just, I know we were talking about this. I got an email, I saw it, no cost to, a municipality.
Yeah. What's everyone want to do?
Well,
Should we go back to the merchants and ask them if they continue to believe it's a problem?
If it's all right, I'd like to, first of all, I think Fred's right. I go over there a lot, and there's a lot of activity. Sometimes you wait around for a parking space, but you ultimately get one. That's observation number 1. I don't think it's a big deal. My second question is, if we get the sticks and people ignore the stick, what I understood was they get a ticket or something, right? So the next question is, so they get a ticket, now you have a stick with a ticket on it, but if your guys aren't going to be there to do whatever you have to do, that just puts an extra burden on you guys. If you can't guarantee what's going to happen, if the sticks have pieces of paper on them, it's not going to help.
And they get a ticket via email.
Yeah, it's
No,
electronic.
I know,
It's
but if the
electronic.
car's still there, it doesn't help us at all, because the car's still there, the guys get a ticket, and we still have blocked traffic if that's what we're using it for.
Right, but they might not do it again.
Well, they might, but who knows? But that gets back to Fred. It's not that big a deal to start with, so to go through all this craziness sounds like a bridge too far.
Honest to the chief to say that the merchants were asking for something, and
But I know that they came to infrastructure a couple months ago now and had asked for that. So,
Can I ask if we change the ordinance to add some 15-minute temporary parking, does that cost it on us, or can we transfer that cost over to the owner of the property who's requesting this in the first place?
But I don't think so.
Meaning the cost to advertise and adopt the ordinance.
Average the solicitor to go through it, write it, advertise it, like whatever costs.
I could certainly float that to Brookstone to see if they're willing to pay it. We can't require it, but we can
Well,
ask.
No, but I don't think we should go through all
Yeah,
this.
but then how do you enforce it?
It's, I mean, you
Because
still,
you can't mark the tires anymore.
well, in West Reading, they go through and they photograph all the license plates. I watched the guy do it. But no, you're not, it's not gonna get you enough, yeah, they have parking enforcement. Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna enforce it either way.
I would suggest, though, if we're good with them having the 15-minute parking, that we actually adopt an order, because right now it says no parking. So if we're going to allow them to be there and we're okay with that, I think we need to make it so that it's properly posted and legal that they're allowed to do it in a certain area.
You get a 15-minute.
I mean, we could get the signs 15 minutes between, you could have it say 15-minute parking between signs, and you have one at one end, one at the other, where I suggest, I mean, again, I would put it where I suggested it, where I had the pictures. And, you know, that's where they would be allowed to park for 15 minutes. It's right in the middle of that whole storefront. So then they run in, they're going pretty much evenly to all the different businesses. So,
Why don't we try that first? I mean,
So in that state,
Not gonna be enforced.
using sticks in that scenario?
no, I'm saying if we don't have the sticks, we just have the sign up, because if council ultimately says it's okay, let's give them the 15-minute parking, let's put the signs up to make it legal. Because if we keep it at no, well, then it's no, okay, that's no parking right now. So if we're going to allow it, we should have it signed properly, which means we'd have to update the ordinance to do that.
Well, if it's signed properly, what's going to happen is people are going to park there, they're signed, and unless you're going to give them a ticket, more cars are going to be there, and it's going to stay there. And the only big problem is the parking lot across the street. If that parking lot were filled with people that work there, they'd have plenty of places to park. But all the people that work there park there, so there's no place to park. So if you put a no parking sign up, that's just going to jam up the street, because there's not going to be any place to park at that point. Unless you're going to give them a ticket.
And I'm not saying we won't, I'm just saying it's
No, I
hard for us to, because we get busy to watch that for that 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
So I'm not saying it's going to be a lot, I'm sure that will happen from time to time, but I'm just saying that,
We start with no parking sign, or 15-minute parking signs, and put them in the zone where those 4 spots would be with sticks, see how it goes. If the merchants are still unhappy with the situation, then maybe we go back to the owner of the property and we can go back to these guys and the property owner and say, this is the situation, we can put these sticks in. It will ticket these people so that they don't have to, so that they're not going to stay longer than 15 minutes. But if there's this overriding fee, maybe that goes to the owner of the property versus us, since this street is basically for those merchants. Nobody else is parking in front of that building and walking into West Reading, as far as I would assume.
So am I asking them in the meantime if they'd be agreeable to covering the cost for preparation, advertisement?
That's not, I mean, that's on the committee, I'm not on it.
Not for the
This is
15
just-
minute, for the sticks.
Well,
No, but I mean, currently, other than the loading, unloading zones, which are supposed to be for merchant deliveries only, not for a general person to park in, we prohibit parking on that side of the block. So if we're gonna allow 15-minute parking, we have to revise the ordinance.
No, I understand that, but I don't think you'd put that on the merchants.
There is a provision in your motor vehicle code, I have to take a closer look at it, that talks about experimental regulations.
So Michelle, would you repeat that?
There's a section, and it's hard to read on my phone, but experimental regulations. Borough council may from time to time designate places upon and along the highways in the borough where for a period of not more than 90 days,
Yes.
specific traffic and parking regulations shall be in force and effect, shall designate such locations by proper signs and markings.
Which we've done before.
Yeah, it's an emergency proclamation by the mayor.
Yeah.
Well, this is different than emergencies. This is just called experimental. You have a section for temporary and emergency, and then there's a section for experimental. It's 105 in the motor vehicle section, chapter.
Be nice to see whether it works. 15-minute works. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea,
I
temporary.
think we're gonna have
Yeah.
to get it signed though, so people know.
Yeah. Well, I think before we go with that, I mean, we do have on the agenda the safety stick contract. So what's everybody's, somebody wish to make a motion to either squash it or table it?
Table
Second.
Okay. Second, all those in favor of tabling it, say aye.
it.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, so we'll table it. Okay, now going forward, do we want to try this experimental?
I can talk with Attorney Hartman as to how this has to be done. That may be something to consider.
I'll make the motion to do that.
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor? Oh, wait a minute, can't make a motion because it's not on the agenda.
I don't think there's any harm in Michelle having that conversation with
Yeah.
Chris when he gets back, and then
We can report back.
depending on the time of your report too, John, it's something you possibly add to your report for council for formal action.
When's your infrastructure?
20th.
Okay, so it's after council.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 weeks before council, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, I'll speak with Chris next week.
Okay.
Yes, as you will recall, last council meeting, council voted to give a conditional offer to Stephen Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez has completed and successfully passed all those conditions. He will be starting with us on Monday the 6th. I want everybody to be aware of that. The next two are just informational, just so that you are aware. On 10/5, there'll be the annual life chain is going to be occurring. It's along Penn Avenue. It starts at Park Road and goes into West Reading. It's scheduled from 2 till 3:30. And then on October 18th, the Berks County Democratic Committee, their No Kings Peaceful Protest is also going to occur again from 1 to 2:30. So neither of them require a permit because they're part of the First Amendment exception to the ordinance. So again, this is just an advisory so that if you see them as you're out and about, you know what it is.
You bring in other extra officers for this?
We monitor, we let it, because it's protected. I always talk to them, but they're actually really good to deal with. They have people that watch things. We're watching social media, looking for if there's any possible potential issues. If we see that, then I may bring other people in. But right now, the plan and what we've done so far is just monitor from afar kind of thing.
It seems to be an orderly, I've looked at it.
If they were in the street, then we would have to have a permit. They're just on the sidewalk.
Okay. Anything else for police department? Questions?
In the shootings, we're seeing more and more for law enforcement. Do you have the vest that you need? More, vest that will stop rifles instead of,
So we have in all the cars, plate carriers they're called. that can be
Yes.
worn. Yes, we have that.
in reading the police blotter, it's not unusual to see collisions between scooters and cars. I've never seen a scooter cited. And in just sitting on my front porch and watching the kids zoom around, they're going the wrong way down Cleveland. They are not looking right and left. People coming toward them are not looking for traffic coming toward them. It's very dangerous. Is there anything?
We're working on a detail with that. I'm working with the school again, trying to get some information out. And we are working on a detail, setting up something to deal with some scooters. And I don't like issuing citations to 12-year-olds and things like that. It'll more likely be warnings and information giving. We're coming up with something to give to the kids when they get stopped and that type of thing. So that's coming.
I saw one,
Chief and I had a conversation last week, so we had town and gown Tuesday night. There wasn't enough time to add anything to the agenda for this. But this was a topic that was brought up at town and gown as well. The school district was asking if we could consider potentially putting in place a helmet ordinance, kind of rehashing the conversation, the information the chief shared with the school district over the summer about really, other than riding these on private property, they're not permitted on sidewalks, they're not permitted on streets. They shouldn't really be out there at all, but if a parent's buying it for a child, the child's gonna ride it. So it sounds like the school district has some of their own concerns about safety on school property, safety of kids riding them in general and community. Again, it's something we're gonna talk about and probably have on the agenda for the October meeting for an in-depth discussion.
I think it's a mode of transportation, not just kids. I mean, this morning, I saw one which I didn't get a chance to take a picture. It was two young ladies, probably 13 or 14. They both had backpacks. One was riding on the back of the other, and the one on the backpack was looking at her phone. So it's crazy. That's just one of every day of the week, every direction, up, down, left, south, northeast. I mean, and this morning, coming down Parkside Drive, this guy flying down the middle of Parkside Drive doing faster than the traffic going the other way. So it's widespread. The school district can't stamp out all the crazy people riding these things or driving them. If you want to change an ordinance.
They park them at the school.
It's also difficult for a
They have
police
a bike
officer to
rack.
pull over a 10-year-old, try and give them a ticket. They're gonna throw that in the trash. Mom and dad are never gonna, or they're gonna just drive off without telling you mom and dad's name.
They're not
Yeah,
even-
but they're gonna be killed.
They are gonna be killed. I understand there are guidelines, but I think it's hard, rather than completely making them.
Well, if you ignore the kids, or don't ignore the kids, let the parents figure this out, or however we do that. It's the kids that aren't kids that are driving around in these things that are not supposed to be there. And those you can put in jail if you want for an hour, or whatever you want to do with them, but you can get rid of them.
I don't know whether we can confiscate the scooters, but
Yeah, that would be. Didn't we do
Well,
that?
we've talked about confiscation,
Right?
and we never really came up with anything,
For those ATVs.
It's for the ATV.
ATV, yeah, I mean, that's so along the same.
I think eventually,
It's pretty funny. We used to take a kid.
the Commonwealth's having an issue passing a budget right now, but eventually they're going to get caught up. They have to define these scooters because they're not defined really at all in the vehicle code. So they're going to have to come up with a definition and the rules for these things. And I believe they're going to be something similar to a bike. A bike, you have to follow all the rules of the road too. But I just, if all of a sudden, because I'm sure it's not just a problem here, it's a problem everywhere. And if every municipality in the Commonwealth starts issuing citations to kids and things like that, I mean, the Commonwealth residents are going to come up in arms, and then they'll start defining them and making them legal for the street, and not need all the inspections and registrations and things like that. But I just think that they'll be like a bike where they'll have to still follow all the rules.
I forget whether it was Chester or Montgomery County, somebody just enacted a local ordinance requiring helmets be worn on these things. I forget, last week I heard it on the news.
I mean, that's a start, but they shouldn't be allowed to use their cell phones. They should be required.
There's a lot of stuff you shouldn't be able to do.
But it's not like the parents are supervising this stuff.
Well, that is correct.
Maybe it's just part of natural selection.
Darwinism.
So what's the new distracted driving laws that went into effect? I mean, I had put stuff on our website about that, but just for everybody's recollection, I mean, It is now the law in Pennsylvania where you're not even allowed, if you're at a stop sign or red light, to be on your phone. You have to be pulled over and stopped. And it would count for these vehicles as well. I mean, it's already there. It's just a matter of defining these vehicles better, because I just don't see the intent to start issuing citations to kids. You know, I just don't see that as what the Commonwealth will do. I just think that they're going to eventually define them like a bicycle. They're gonna have to follow all the rules, but they're gonna permit them at some point.
Right, but I mean, it'd be great if we had videos showing parents how dangerous this is, how oblivious the kids are, how close they are to getting killed.
And it's not the bike thing. It's sort of a different thing. It's like a scooter. Well, I had a scooter, but I only had one leg because the other one was on the scooter. That's how you moved it. Now, kids are 9 and 10 on scooters. So if you're going to do this like a bike, it's not a bike, it's a scooter. That's why they're using a scooter, because they're too little to be on a bike. So the parents give them a scooter and they're driving themselves.
You need to call it what it is, which is an electric vehicle.
Yeah, of course.
It's,
And that's, there's no way to stop that unless you just say you can't do this, because you can't. I mean, if you don't let them ride on the street, well, if you don't watch out where you're walking, they go flying by you on the sidewalk, because they doesn't matter. They go any which way they want to go. And the parents know that. They don't know what to do about it either. So,
they don't have to buy them. The kid.
well, they don't,
Exactly.
but every kid has one, because the parents just get them one, and that's the end of the story.
Chief, as you work with the school on this, you bring up a good point about, gee, there should be a film or something. Maybe AAA has some sort of film addressing this issue already. I'm just, be worthwhile looking into.
YouTube probably has something.
Oh, of course, YouTube does.
Showing a kid getting hit or something. So.
Alrighty, anything else?
I have a simple question. I see on the blotter a significant number of those school bus citation things that you guys approve and off it goes. Do you have any thoughts on what do people have in mind? I mean, you got this big yellow bus with the lights flashing and that thing that comes out the side that says stop, and you go around it anyway. I mean, what are they, because it's the absence of a police car sitting there, or what are they thinking?
They're
not observant.
They're more important than.
I mean, it's astonishing.
Well, that came up at Town and Gown also, and the school said, it was great. We haven't had any offenses. Well, all of a sudden they got caught up. And 6 or 7 of them by the end of the
We
week.
see more in the Wilson side than we have in the Wyomissing side, but yes, we're finally starting to see a couple.
Yeah. Okay.
My only observation on that is there are a few spots where half of Wyomissing gets on the bus. So when the bus pulls up at 8 o'clock, it takes till 20 after until the bus is full and the lights aren't blinking anymore. So it's just an observation. They got to stop anyway, but that's what's happening. Everybody's focusing on being at this corner and they take forever to get on the bus. So what?
If the lights are flashing, you got to stop.
I agree.
Leave a minute earlier so you're in front of us.
That's right.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to fire department.
Or, the September activity report month to date is up on the screen. Does anybody have any specific questions about responses, mutual aid? No fire loss. Inspection, invoicing, and payment obviously continue to occur. There were some past due invoice payments that came in, and I'm going to say the past 2 weeks specifically for the Berkshire Mall. There's no questions. I will move on to the update on the fire chief hiring process. Round one interviews were conducted last week with 5 candidates. Of those 5, 2 are moving on to second round interviews that are scheduled for October 20th at 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. So I expect a motion to approve hiring at the November council meeting. Fingers crossed. The entry-level firefighter position, there are 3 candidates that have passed the written test and the physical agility test. Their oral interviews are scheduled for this Wednesday at the fire station. The captains will be giving those interviews with me sitting in the background as a neutral party. Typically, the chief would sit in on them, but in the absence of the chief, we agreed it would be appropriate for me to be there. The Civil Service Commission was supposed to meet Friday the 17th for both the police department promotional process for sergeant, as well as to certify the entry-level hiring list. I found out on Friday that we're likely going to have an issue having a quorum at that meeting on the 17th, even though we had scheduled it back in July. So Chief Phillips and I were going over a calendar for alternative dates. We were also discussing last week whether it made more sense to go to personnel or fire and police with both his promotions and the entry level list. At this point, based off of having to reschedule that Civil Service Commission list, we may have no choice but to bring it to the October Fire and Police Committee meeting. Just, if we have to move civil service back 1 week, it'll be, civil service will take place after the October personnel meeting. So just an early heads up. We may be coming to you with both of those things instead of a personnel meeting. Open house for the fire department is scheduled for next Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. That's been advertised on their social media, the borough's social media, and on the website. And finally, the LSA grant, which that is grant funding received from all of the casinos throughout the state. An application has been submitted requesting $1 million for fire station renovations. I think I brought this up at the last infrastructure meeting. Meister Architects had prepared the estimate of probable cost, which comes in a little shy of $800,000. One of the things we're going to be adding to this to get us to the $1 million is the SCBAs, which are the breathing apparatuses, the oxygen tanks effectively that the firefighters wear when they go into the building. Being a little creative with the grant application, and that those apparatus are housed in the station and the station overall is being renovated. So that's a almost $200,000 cost that they're coming up for replacement next year. Relief has agreed to pay for up to 50%, but we don't really have a choice but to get the other ones. Both the opinion of probable cost and the floor plans that Meister prepared were sent out with the agenda. I had a meeting, Meister Architects started working on these plans at the beginning of the year with former Chief Holmes. I had a meeting with Meister, the 3 captains, and the 3 technicians at the beginning of August, just to make sure what Meister had worked on, we were kind of all on the same page, and that comments that the captains and technicians had funneled to former Chief Holmes did make it into the design plan. So we are all on the same page. We are all okay with what is being shown on these plans. Do you want to talk about what you and I just talked about?
So I examined the plans, and there's no question. I mean, the walls are bulging down there. It's but my concern is, and it was presented to us a couple of years ago, that the dormitories be moved downstairs because of a safety issue of them being half asleep and running down the steps to answer a call in the middle of the night. Well, in these plans, none of the dormitories are being moved downstairs. They're still upstairs because there's just simply no room to move them downstairs. So I'm afraid right now we're just putting a Band-Aid on things, and eventually all that's going to be torn out and redone, whether we expand out the back of the station or we go to the side.
So when Bill and I just had this conversation, I said, my concern is knowing that we also have Borough Hall and the police department that we need to do something about. We could be 10 years down the road till we touch the fire station for any type of significant renovation, adding on to existing walls. And one of the key reasons we were talking about renovations that this plan does incorporate is currently there are only 2 showers. So when they come back from a fire, NFPA recommendations, you shower immediately. You get your gear off, you take a shower. Well, right now, with 3 on shift, 1 of them's waiting. If there's 4 on shift, 2 of them are waiting. I feel like we're in a tough position of, we could do, I understand if we do something, we spend $800,000, there's a strong possibility 5, 10, 15 years down the road, we're redoing it. I don't think we have a choice. I personally don't.
There's no way to reconfigure and get the sleeping quarters downstairs.
You're gonna lose something else that you need. I mean, you could put the sleeping quarters downstairs, but then you can't put everything else that goes along with that, bathroom facilities, they're still going upstairs. So in the middle of the night, they're either going upstairs
You're gonna use.
for something.
There's a room comfort.
Counter Kelly did a full cost analysis back in 2019 that we still have the study for. They were recommending, a whole addition off the back. The cost of that project in 2019 was, I think, about $6 million.
Yes, in there.
So 6 years with inflation, I'm guessing we're now probably closer to 8 to 10.
What did Spreading pay for their new stations?
I have no idea. I mean, Coomer is paying 12 million right now for the one that they're building. And I think Exeter just approved last week.
Yeah, and that's around the same price, and they're using the same architect.
You can't swap 2 of those bedrooms upstairs for 2 of the offices downstairs. There's bathrooms on the first floor.
So it's not just a bathroom. The bathrooms on the first floor don't have showers. It's literally a
But they're just sleeping there. They'd have to go upstairs to shower, but
understood. But again, I'm going to defer to an architect to design this after several meetings as to this is what fits and this is what doesn't.
yeah, I
Yeah,
just.
the only thing,
First floor was.
the only thing that could be done is the existing offices
That's where they put
for
their.
the captains, that they get moved upstairs, bring the bedrooms downstairs. You know,
Yeah, that's what I just said.
you know, that's the only
Size room.
thing you can do.
I mean, as of now, we're simply submitting the grant app for funding. That's not to say we can't change our minds on if the design changes or something changes down the road. We cross that bridge when we get to it, but
And just to go along with what I just said, even in doing so, you're going to lose some of the day room, okay, because you only have 2 offices. And so you're going to lose the day room down there if you would even go that. So, you know, it's not ideal by any stretch.
I'm just looking at the 2 side offices on the first floor are the same size as 2 of the bedrooms upstairs. They're in different locations. The 2 bedrooms upstairs I'm talking about are above the storage. The 2 offices downstairs that I'm talking about are below the fitness.
so the 2 offices.
Or is this the basement? Is this the
I
3rd
think
floor?
So first floor, you have the apparatus bay, you have the front workstations, you have the captain's office, you have a single male and female bathroom, and then you have the training room. And off the apparatus bay is the gear washer. So like that's where they store their gear when they come back from the call. That's where the gear gets washed.
We have now.
Upstairs, you have the captain's bunk room and bathroom to the right. You have the stairwell, and then you have the day room with a breakout little eating space. You have more bunk rooms, relief office, chief's office. And other than the museum and apparatus storage in the basement, nothing's conditioned down there.
It's almost like we're running into the obvious. I mean, the building's there. We have just filled it up with all kinds of stuff, like trucks, people, and now we say, this is a problem. We got all these people in here. Well,
I mean, when it was built, it wasn't meant to house career staff overnight.
I understand, but now everybody's there.
Yep.
I'm saying, how do we do this?
Yep.
We don't have enough money, and I guess John will be the first one to say, we come first.
Well, and I mean, so that's going back to my point of, I don't disagree at all with Bill that if we get this grant funding and we spend the money to make these renovations, it is something that is likely going to be undone in the next 10 years. But unless somebody has a money tree that's gonna give us another 5 to 10 million in that time frame, I don't know what choice we have.
This be a matching?
No, there's no match whatsoever.
Okay, see, that's my other concern. I don't want to use taxpayers' dollars. I mean, technically we are, but we're not directly being hit with it.
There's no match.
What are all the other communities that are building all these things paying for it?
They're floating
Just
bonds.
floated a bond.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Coomer did the same. It's interesting though, because Chief Bean from Coomer was one of the chiefs on the panel for our chief interview process last week. And we were all kind of asking him like, how's the project coming? And, you know, he said like anything else, like in retrospect, there are now things as it's coming to life I would do differently, but you don't know till you know.
it's like building a house. If
Yeah.
you're 85% happy with what you've done, then it's.
Money well
that's-
spent.
You know, I mean, when Michelle and I were talking, I said, you know, I've looked at many fire department designs and been in many fire stations. And the best thing, I think, would be to go sideways. Maintain what we have, and then when the time would come, potentially, you know, buy the homes on the other side.
That fire station was built to knock the wall out on that side too.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
No?
yeah, I forgot about that.
It was. Toward the restaurant. It was built, it was.
On that side.
Was built with, I won't say the anticipation, but if they ever wanted to, it was constructed supposedly so that it could
Sure
knock
enough,
out.
there it goes down.
I thought it was on the other side, towards the house.
No, the restaurant.
So you still have enough room for traffic.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can only go out as far as the parking lot would be there, yeah, but it was made,
Get you like another 20.
yeah, I don't know exactly how you do it, but,
Three more stories.
yeah, I don't know.
So, okay. Chief, I just thought of something here, and we were talking about it. The Pennsylvania Micro Mobility Fact Sheet. Can we get about 50 copies of that and put at the fire prevention open house? And maybe people coming in will take a copy with,
They're on our website.
well, maybe if they're printed out and they can just grab one and take it home with them right there, along with a coloring book or something, you know, that might, anything will help
I
it.
can print a bunch of that. Yeah.
Just a thought. Anything else for the fire department? Deputy Chief Bear, thank you.
Acting chief.
Okay, do we have anything else to discuss? I suppose not. No executive session needed?
Yep.
Right. Wonderful. We are adjourned. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you.
Yeah, I won't be next week, so.
For a couple days,
What's that?
not one paragraph.
I thought it was.